Okay, thank you, Chief. All right, and so we'll go right into the slides. And again, while we're speaking, if people have questions and they want to put it in the chat function, they're absolutely welcome to. We do have staff on. Our ISD liaisons are here, Francis Oliveria and Lisa Coveney. They'll be looking into the chats and asking questions. They'll also share their contact information. And again, we're here because we also want to make sure that we stay in touch with you all. So if you ever need help, or if we can, answer any questions, whether it be now or later, we'd be happy to do that. We also have a language and communication access division. So if you speak another language or, again, need assistance with other languages or forms of communication, we're always happy to help. So with that said, I'll turn it over to our Deputy Commissioner, Mark Joseph. We'll go through the slides.
Well, thank you, Jessica. Good evening, everyone. My name is Mark Joseph, the Deputy Commissioner, Building Commissioner, ISD, and also Inspectors of Buildings. It's a pleasure for me to be here to inform you about, to give you a few tips about construction safety, building safety. This month, as the chiefs just said, is a building safety month, and we take the opportunity to talk to you and hope that you will learn something tonight. So I'm here with two chief building inspectors, Mr. Shandu Dion and also Dave Johnson. So we're going to do our best to answer your questions and bring you some information we think that might be essential to your well-being and also of your family. And they have, as you see here, they have some categories that hire a licensed contractor. We're going to be talking about that. We're going to be talking about also what to do. How can you get a building permit? What permits do you need? And since there are many different types of permits, and we're going to talk about the different types and smoke alarm safety tips and what can you do, how you maintain your smoke alarm, carbon monoxide detectors, and other type of alarms around the unit, your buildings, and also some summer safety tips in your home. So what you can do to maintain your home. As you know, Massachusetts requires a home improvement contractor registration for contractors doing more than $1,000 of work on a 1 and 4 family on an occupied dwellings. So meaning that when you apply for a permit, the HIC contractor, which is home improvement contractor, it's only a registration, is not a license. You have to be careful with that. That's if that person have the HIC, that will allow you to go to the state to, if you have some dispute with your contractor, you can have some mediations, arbitrations about some of the things that you and your contractor cannot resolve on your own. So you can try to go there and try to get some information, some results, some arbitrations on how to come up to a conclusion, so a good end of any dispute you might have with your contractor. How to hire a contractor. Sometimes it might be tough, it might be kind of difficult, but if you take the time, you might try to get the right one. So you have to at least interview at least 3 different contractors and request a written estimate. You have to have a written estimate from each of them. Check with the Office of Consumer Affairs and Business Regulation to make sure the contractor or some contractors you hire is currently registered with the state. You have to confirm references. References is always good. Never agree to a verbal contract or without checking references. Let's talk a little bit about permits. There are many different types. The inspection services permits process is required whether you're making changes to a structure or to a building's occupancy. Permitting for minor changes can be done online or in person. Major changes usually can be started online and you need to complete them in person. Again, the type of construction you do will dictate what type of permits you need. Short form permits, electrical permits, plumbing and gas permits, permit for major changes. You have long form permits, demolition permits, and also use of premises permits. Those are the major changes that you want to do around your building or your dwelling. Protect yourself. Please make sure the building permit is in the name of the contractor, not the homeowner. This protects the homeowner if they have to pursue legal action against the contractor. Let me repeat that. If you have a licensed professional working with you, it's always in your best interest to get the permit on the name of the contractor. If the contractor wants you to have that in your name, ask why, for what reason, and that will protect you if the contractor fails, or if there are some disputes along the way, if you have to go to the Consumers Affairs Office, and then that will protect you that the contractor is in charge of your control, of your construction. These projects, summer projects, this project includes the installation of swimming pools, sheds, decks, fence, rooftops. Those are the type of construction summer project that we see all the time by tracking down what people come here more often. People who have a home dwelling units. These are the type of permit they mostly pursue within the summer. So that's why we're trying to prioritize those projects and try to get you a permit as soon as we can. Foundation repair. Caulk and repair small holes or cracks in the foundations, windows, and doors. These things can create problems for your house, even though they're small. They do not remain small all the time. They get bigger and create problems to other members of the buildings. You got to avoid humidity problems in your basement. Install a ventilation system or use a dehumidifier. So those little things there you do all the time, pay attention to your house, can really prevent big problems for you along the way. At roof safety tips. Is your flat roof permitted for an assembly or recreational use by ISD? What they mean by that, if you have a flat roof, you don't have a building permit for it for assembly, that means people cannot just go there. And that does not mean a contractor cannot go up there to repair some stuff, but it's not there for assembly for people to just go on your roof. If not, it should not be used due to lack of weldings, egress of structural integrity issues. Next slide, please. Deck safety tips. Decks should be designed and constructed to adhere to current building and zoning codes so they can withstand a reasonable load. The load is impacted by the amount of people that can be on the deck, the weight of outdoor furniture, and also you have snow loads, you have wind loads, and you have normal wear and tear deterioration for that deck. So you need to check those decks every time summer is coming. Those are the times to check for things like this to make sure that when you have a little backyard party, you have a lot of people who are trying to congregate on your deck. That means the deck is structural sound, so there will be no problem. To install a deck, you need to do the following. You apply for a loan form. In order to apply for a loan form, there are certain documents that are required for you to have. A plot plan or survey or mortgage survey, a plot plan mostly, is very important for you to have. It indicates where the deck will be placed on the property or attached to the building. Foundation, footings, and framing plans must also be submitted. Decks can also be installed in the rear yard. They say can only be, but if you have a large yard, large side yard, decks can also be there as well. You just have to inspect all the setbacks required by the zoning codes. And the side yard also, if it's big, you can put a deck there. If you have enough side yard, you can put it there. Sheds. In order to construct sheds, you also need a plot plan or a mortgage survey plans. It should indicate the location of the sheds. Sheds must be located 4 feet away from all lot lines if you have a short forms, but if you have a long form, the plan examiner, whoever is giving it, will take charge of that, will tell you it has to be located at least 4 feet away from all lot lines. In this case, based on what we're seeing here, got to be 4 feet away from the side yard and 4 feet away from the rear yard. Shells must be anchored to the ground and used for storage only. You cannot use sheds for any other purposes other than storage. You cannot have a living space there. You cannot have some sort of bathrooms in there, too small for that. You cannot have any other activities inside of sheds other than to store normal household items. Regular check for and fix loose railing or boards on upper story balconies. As you can see, this stairway there, it's a little balcony there. You can see had handrails. These are not up to code. The code says that got to be placed 4 feet apart to prevent children from slipping through and trapping body parts. Railings on other buildings can be up to 7 inches apart and may need to be replaced to protect children. Like this one here, as you've seen it, that's something that needs to be replaced because it doesn't meet code. You have a big gap between the two railings. That gap's about more than 12 inches. That's not what the code says it has to be. A small child on the top of stairs can have a very big fall there because this is more than 4 feet fall. That can be a big fall for a small child that is on top of the railings as we see it. So, and also he only has railing on one side. The code required for railing to be on both sides and must be having guardrails, railings, balusters, not more than 4 inches apart, where any object with the diameter more than 4 inches can pass through. In this case here, this is not the code. And if you have a situation like that at home, make sure please try to correct that as soon as you can. Swimming pool, this is a big issue for summertime, for summer, where everyone when it gets too hot, trying to get some cooling here. If you have above or below ground pool and ground pool, you need a licensed contractor. You may apply to obtain a permit yourself, but to construct it, you need a licensed builder to take charge of this construction. Also for all swimming pools, you need to have a fence around it, and the fence cannot be less than 6 feet. And with a gate, a self-closing gate, you also need to provide some sort of affidavit to this department prior of the issuance of the building permit. You need to have these things, but that's something that you can get a permit very quickly for something simple like this if you have a backyard that can sustain a swimming pool above or in ground pool. And also you need a survey to indicate where the pool is going to be. You need a plot plan. We keep talking about plot plan. This is a very, very important piece of documents that you should have for your house. No matter what you have to do, even a deck, swimming pool, sheds, whatever you plan to do as sort of addition to what existing, you need to have a plot plan to show the location where the new item is going to be placed on your property. Safety tips at home. Yes, there are many. As you can see, you have smoke alarm, what we usually call smoke detectors. We have to have that on every home, every bedrooms, every floor, every story. If you have 2, 3 stories, you have to have those smoke detectors, and you test them all the time. There is a test button for these smoke detectors where you can test them to make sure that they give you the sound that in case, so they can do the job when the times come. If you have some smoke or you have a fire, small or big, I mean, these things can awake you, can give you some signal that there is a problem. And you have to check the battery. You keep the battery fresh by replacing them all the time, every year. You change the batteries, good or bad, you just change them. You make an escape plan so everyone knows how to get out fast. That's exactly where, and also it's not only for your home, it's wherever you go. You always check to see how you can escape. You don't just go somewhere you don't know how you can escape. I do that all the time myself, and I always advise people to do same. You go somewhere, you make sure that you can escape. Balcony, porches, roofs with grills. It's illegal to use portable charcoal, propane, and gas operating cooking grills on the following structures. You cannot have on your balconies. You cannot have them on your porches. You cannot have them on your roofs. There are some other regulations you can have them, but you cannot have them if you have charcoal or propane gas. You can only have them in your backyard, your open space backyard, but you cannot have them on combustible materials such as woods or decks or balconies or stuff like that. Trees. You have to make sure that you trim your trees because often they can create problems. If they interfere with electric lines, have them professionally trimmed. Make sure all power used for outdoor outlets is GFCI. What that means, ground fault circuit and ground fault circuit integrated. Ground fault circuit integrated. Make sure they're there to protect your property. Only use cords approved for outdoor use when working outside. Do not ever use tools if cords are frayed, broken, or if the through-prong cord is not intact. Don't use those stuff. If all those things, like a picture like this one here, it's overloaded. So this can call for disaster here. You never overload electric cord or power strip. Be sure the total amount of energy used by appliances and lights plugged into the cord or strip does not exceed that capacity. Don't use appliances that have damaged cords. If a cord is damaged, just throw it away, don't use it. And situation like this one here, that's overloaded, you do not overload a cord like this one here with all these connections on it. It can become overheated very quickly. Safe exit paths and passages. You have to keep your always clear of obstructions. Let's say if you have chairs, you have tables, you have all these things, you don't put these on their way out. So you clear your always. You do not block or obstruct emergency escape windows and exit doors. Emergency escape windows are very important. They are there for emergency escape only. Make sure all family members know how to unlock and open windows and doors. You do not lock a door that is required special knowledge to open it, where most house members do not know that special knowledge how to do and remove them. Even though if you have a guest, I mean, he has to be able to save himself or herself quickly and properly without having to use any special knowledge for lock doors or windows. Be sure window security bars released from the inside. If you have bars on your windows for security, make sure that you have mechanism to release them from the inside very quickly and efficiently, because those things are there to protect you. They call them emergency rescue windows. You cannot put bars on them that can inhibit the use of these things. You have to develop and practice and fire scope plans. At this point here, so I am going to, let's go to the next slide, Jessica, and see what it says. And for leaks, toilets, We have to make sure that wherever you have leaks, you take care of these problems. Leaks can create other bigger structural problems than what you can see, because leaks, water has what they call a static effect. It can be there ruining your property without even knowing it. And after so many years, so many months with a leak, really you can have a serious problem in your hand with a small leak of water every day, all the times. If you happen to see things, fix them right away. Don't think that is small. It can create bigger problem for you. Try to take care of these problems as soon as you can detect them. Not only as soon as you can detect them, make sure that you check your property all the time, especially in these areas where you don't go all the time. So if you can give yourself some time to check under the sink, under your cabinets, and to check these things, make sure, please, you do that. Leaves. You have to clear dead leaves on your gutters. Can create a lot of problems for your property inside the walls. Water can infiltrate. If water infiltrate there, that can go through the window, above the seal of the window. That can create a lot of problems for the walls of the property. And then that can also invitation for mold, termite, and a lot of other problems that can be a big problems to your property. Okay, I'm going to let my Chief Building Inspector, Dave Johnson, to take over to talk about sustainability. It is a very big issue here. So he's going to take this over, and I'll be around for more questions. If you have questions, I'll be pleased to help to answer this question. Thank you.
Okay, good evening, folks, and we can go to the next slide. So we're going to talk about how to maximize energy and with your home. So sustainability home is one that is built or what's the word? We're a little nervous, folks. Sorry about that. So what we're going to talk about is a home that has high efficient quality components to it to maximize the energy and water that's used in your home. And there are several different systems that can do that. So we're talking about sustainable house that is built with low impact and high performance materials. Next slide. What makes a house environmentally stable is eco-friendly building materials and methods, high performance windows. We have windows today. If you can remember, back in the day, you had one pane windows. So now today you have 2 panes or 3 pane windows, and this allows to maintain the heat in your home. And you'll have energy saving smart home systems. These are thermostats that are used on your heating system, which actually control it senses and it controls your home as well to give you the maximum energy, but not spending a lot of money heating your home. And we're talking about also energy efficient appliances. When you go purchase your appliances, you can check with the provider and making sure that they do have certain information on those appliances that allows energy efficiencies. Energy, and also, let's go back a bit here. Thank you, sorry about that. And we're also talking saving energy saving smart home systems and high efficiency plumbing fixtures. So there are systems out there that you can purchase for your home that really maximize the energy, high efficiency for your home. So definitely do your research on that.
And also, I like to add to this topic here. If you have to do some repair, some renovations on your house, if you have installations you have to replace, make sure that the contractor put normal installation for your buildings. R19, R21s are recommended for walls, R38 and R48 are also recommended for roofs. And if you have contractor, you hire a contractor, you see they come in with low type of insulation to your house, call the building inspector. The building inspector can help to determine if that type of insulation is proper for what the contractor is about to use them for. So make sure, try to stay close to your contractor, and I believe that you will see some good result.
Okay. So, and to add to that, you know, the state of Massachusetts under the 2015 IRC building code, so you're welcome to do a lot of research into insulation and what's required in floors, walls, and ceilings. So that's great information, Mark. To talk about sustainable housing tips, installing water-saving shower heads and low flow faucet aerators, and using your for your bathroom sink and your kitchen sink. And this allows a certain amount of pressure that comes out of those systems, and you want to make sure those things are tight from water leaks. You know, you don't never want to dump anything down your storm drains or in the street drains as well. Changing filters in your heating and cooling system, like I do in my home. I do it twice a year. So depends on what type of system you have. There are supply houses that have filters for your home, so I trust you're doing that as well. Replacing light bulbs with LED lights. These are very efficient light bulbs. The old light bulbs, fluorescent light bulbs, they burn a lot of energy, and so now these new systems of LEDs is a lot better. Okay, next slide.
Jessica, and I'd like to add another piece to this one here about energy storage system. And this is the concept here where you can have batteries to save energy, and then you have companies that are offering you to have ESS, how we call them, energy storage systems. So if you want to install one of these storage systems inside of your home, I really suggest that you come to 1010 and try to speak with one of us, the building inspector, the building department here, so we can give you some good advice of where to locate them, how to protect your property from that, and also how to, if you have something that is more than 12,000 kilowatts, and then so we can talk to you how to store these things, because I know those things out there. So most of you might not know exactly the impact or the problem those things can cause. But if you came here, so we'd be pleased to talk to you and give you some very ample good advice about how to protect yourself, your family, and your home.
Excellent. So we're going to get into inspections at your home. This is an extremely important topic. You should at least inspect your home twice a year, and I recommend before the winter months and then after the winter months, because this is when in Massachusetts, because we live in this particular area, because we have snow and rain, a lot of rain, and these weather conditions can cause serious damages to your home. And so we're talking about roof shingles, siding, trim on the exterior of your home. And you could just simply walk around your home yourself and identify if you see loose parts and moldings and these items loose, you know, then you reach out to your licensed contractor and try to get them out there to give you some ideas on how to fix these things as soon as possible. Because if you wait and to fix them later, they can cause more damage. So if you have one shingle that's shifted or moved, water's getting behind that shingle and it's causing more damage and more rot to your home. So you should at least inspect your house annually, twice a year.
Especially after winter time. It's
Definitely.
very recommended that after winter, you take a look around your house yourself. You don't have to an expert to see if a piece of shingle is missing. And that piece of shingle that is missing can create problems, water infiltrate through your walls. And also all of a sudden, so get to your window sills and you know, and all of a sudden you can have some serious problem with your exterior walls. Mold can get to the insulation and stuff like that. So do some research after summertime. So now it's spring, summer month, and it's good time to take a look on your home and make sure that everything's okay. If you see something is wrong, if you can understand it, call someone to help you to understand what's going on there. And so you will find good people to help you to make a determination. So if everything's okay or not.
That's correct. So we just talked about, roof parts and loose, damaged shingles, leaks, cracks in your, your foundation, driveway. These are all possible damages that can cause damages to your home. So you just, just walk around. You see cracks and loose parts. Again, just reach out to your contractor and, do a thorough inspection. And I think you'll be happy about that. Same thing with chimneys. I'm gonna let Dion jump into this particular area. He's our resident, might say, HVAC guy, and he's very familiar with types of things like this. So Dion, you want to chime in?
Yeah, good afternoon, everyone. Dion Shandel. As Chief Johnson was saying, regularly you should be checking your chimneys. Again, you would have heard you should be checking on everything, your smoke detectors. A tip from me to you would be, when you turn your clock, you check all these things. Change your battery in your smoke detectors. Check your filters for your heating system or your AC system. Check and do your complete exterior check of your building. You can do an interior check of your building at the same time. The reason why you'd want to be checking your chimney for loose or broken brick on the outside, because that could be a potential damage to your roof with fallen brick. So you want to make sure that it's checked. If there is any issues, you want to get it taken care of by a licensed professional. In the basement, you want to check to make sure there's no openings in your chimney around where your water heaters or your heating equipment is entering into your chimney, because that is where we can get seepage of carbon monoxide into your building. That's one of the main reasons why you need to be checking and making sure that there's no voids or opening from the inside, and no loose bricks on the outside. Disaster preparedness. All right. You take action and prepare. So the main thing is, again, making sure that your property looks that in a way that there is nothing that would be able to blow off. The other thing that I'd like to mention is that for the energy part of it, there is Mass Save. You can contact Mass Save. They would do an energy audit for you and assist you to bring your building as energy efficient as possible. I know there are a lot of people that's struggling right now. The city of Boston, through the Homeworks program, they do have programs that you may be able to qualify for, that could assist you in getting these repairs done. All right.
So I wanted to jump in to talk about how to prepare for disasters, and this is extremely important. Homeland Security has a system that allows you that you will receive warnings that something related to weather damages and so on and so on. And I don't want to get folks to be panicking, but what I do for myself, I think I want to share with you. What I have at my home, is I have a container, and it has enough food for 3 weeks, water. I also have all my important documents all in a safe in one spot. So if I have to, relocate quickly in an emergency, I grab those documents. You must have an action plan for your family. Where you're going to meet. Something happens. What location you're going to go to. You can go home or you can go to another alternate location. So these things you need to practice as emergency drills. If we can go to the next slide. Okay, so what I did is I went to Homeland Security, and they have a emergency evacuation plan that you can download. And this is what I done. I downloaded it and I just did my checklist. And people may say, "Oh, you're a little paranoid," but no, you're ready. You're ready. Your family's ready. If anything happens, you're able to. You know what's going to happen. You know where your family is located, and you know where you're going to go to make sure that you're safe during the evacuation. Now, the city of Boston does have evacuation routes. You can visit our website to see what direction they are going in, but you should know where to go. So that's a wonderful thing that the city of Boston have put in place. Next slide.
And also talk to the youngsters about this kind of stuff. You might think that they do not understand, but they are. In case if something ever happened, believe me, I mean, they will follow directions that was discussed prior to the situation, prior to the event. So if you have to schedule or you have a place to meet all people together, and you tell them that they don't go over a friends while other people are looking for them. They go to the location, discuss on those meetings that you used to have with your family when everything was fine. So do not think that they do not understand. They will get it. So if there's an event, believe me, they will follow through.
Definitely. So I want to yield to Dion, where we're going to go next to talk about Windows and AC systems.
Just want to give everyone a heads up. It's 6:45. We just have a few more slides, and then we'll open it up for questions. So,
Okay, sure.
So you got to make sure that the unit is unplugged when you're installing or removing it from the window. Make sure that it's secured properly. Most of these AC units do come with safety brackets, but it's best if you can put in another safety bracket to make sure that it doesn't tip over and fall out the window. Never position it in a way that it would fall in or out the window. Once it's installed, you plug it in and make sure that the water in it is running out the back of it, not inside or not into the window well. Those are, again, like the Deputy Commissioner mentioned about the water. Water is not one of your best friends when coming to the building.
Definitely, definitely.
Right.
And if I can briefly talk about fire escapes real quick. Fire escape needs to be inspected every 5 years. It needs to be done by a professional engineer, structural engineer, because this is an egress to most homes, and we want to make sure that these fire escapes and fire escape balconies are attached to the building correctly. So we need to inspect those every 5 years to make sure that if you have to use them, that you're able to escape safely and without getting hurt. Thank you so much.
Yes, and you should not be putting a window unit in a window that's adjacent to the fire escape. Fire escape must remain clear all the time. Also, make sure that the outlet for the AC is adequate for it. So you may have to get an electrician to check it, because drawing too much of power out of an outlet that's not capable of pulling that much power could result in a fire. Next slide, please. Never put anything on top of the unit, again, in case it spill over. As we spoke about before, making sure that it's drained, the drainage is proper, and it's going out of the AC, outside of the building, not anywhere into the building. Next slide, please. Never plug a fan into an extension cord. So fans, again, you don't want to overburden any circuit in your house. So make sure it's not on there's not too many things on the extension cord. You should try at all times never to use extension cords on anything like fans or AC, any appliances like that. It should be plugged in directly to a receptacle. Make sure the receptacle is adequate. Then we go to your central AC safety tips. The condenser should be placed at least 3 feet away from the building, and it should have nothing in the 3 feet perimeter of the unit. The reason for that is that the unit needs to breathe so that you can get maximum efficiency out of your unit. All right, keep the access covers clear of all debris. Right, you should be checking your AC unit regularly, your condenser. You can have a professional, licensed professional comes in for the first time. These things could be washed down with a regular garden hose on the side of the grills and stuff to make sure that it works efficiently. And Chief Johnson just spoke about the fire escapes, so we can move on to the next slide. And I pass this over to Chief Johnson.
Okay, so we're talking about ADUs. These are possible new dwelling spaces that you may want to utilize in your home. I know we have a short period of time, but a lot of folks like to use their basement to extend their living space to the basement, maybe create another dwelling space into your basement, also into your attic. This all can be done, and there is a process to do that, which is a long form process. So, we welcome people to come in, and we will support and offer services and assistance getting this done. So I know we have a short period of time, so if you want to go to question and answer.
Okay, thank you guys. So that concludes the slide presentation of our program. And again, I appreciate everyone that's on. If you have any questions, feel free to raise your hand or send a message in the chat. We'd love to hear from you and see how we could be more helpful. Like I mentioned earlier on the call, our liaisons are also on. I'll make sure we all leave our contact information so that if you do need to follow up with questions or answers, or you're trying to get additional help and you don't know where to go, you're not sure where to start, we're always happy to help. So Anthony, I see your hand is raised here. I sent a request to unmute you. Once unmuted, you could just let us know what questions you have. Okay, maybe he doesn't have questions. If anyone else, again, feel free to raise your hand. Happy to answer.
Hey, Jessica, there looks like there's some questions in the Q&A. If you want, I can, or if you want to read them out to maybe David, who can take care of that.
Okay. If a contractor opens a minor permit, like electrical, oh, it disappeared. Where did it go?
It disappeared.
Okay. It disappeared.
It's on the answers. I'm sorry, that was my fault, Chief Johnson. My apologies.
Okay, that's okay.
Do you see it right under on the tab answered? Just scroll all the way down.
Oh, I can scroll down here.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. I got kicked off for a second, but.
Do you mind reading it to him, Francis?
Yeah, absolutely. So if a contractor opens a minor permit like electrical, finishes work, but fails to close it before the permit expires, what can be done to close the permit? What happens if the contractor is no longer available? And would work have to be brought to current code?
Thank you.
So if a contractor, if it's electrical, plumbing, or building, if they have not closed the permit, and which is a serious problem, what we like you to do is come in with the permit that you have, and if you cannot reach the contractor, there are ways, if they're licensed, there are ways to reach out to them through the state, because if they have a license, it's from the state, and the state has the address. And also this goes back to what our deputy talked about with regards to the HIC. You know, if they are a contractor, they have to be registered with them. They also have their information, and there's a way to reach out to communicate. If you cannot reach them, then in most cases we would have to get a new contractor to sign on to your project to take over the project, or you can communicate with your water inspector, and your water inspector will give you the best advice and direction to go to get that permit closed. So we will work with you to make sure that happens.
And if I may add to this, you never give a final permit until you have your final inspections. This is very, very important. I would like you all to understand that. If you're working with a licensed contractor, I know often they want you to pay. Make sure that you see the amount of work done versus the amount of money paid. Once you can do that proportion, that balance, you will be in good shape. Make sure that you stay close to your inspector. If they ask you for the last permit without you seeing the inspector giving a final inspection, that is a problem. So do not do that. Make sure that the amount of work done is proportional to the amount of money that you pay. That's your big leverage there. Otherwise, you're gonna have to go to arbitrations. You're gonna have to go to the state. Sometimes you might think that it's easy to resolve. It's not that easy to resolve. You have the power of the purse yourself. Do not just keep paying while 50% work done and you already paid 80% of the money. That's not good to do. So pay attention to this kind of stuff.
Hey, Mark, I had a question.
Yes.
Would it be smart for the average homeowner to actually just pay a third of the payment due after each? What would you suggest?
Well,
Like
what
every
happened
3
though?
months or?
Well, for the beginning, so you pay a third, you have to see some movement. You have to see materials being bought in for your construction. You have to see materials. You have to see the equipment of the contractor being delivered, stuff like that. But you don't even, and you have to have a contract. You make sure that you read the contract. Contract's very important. You have to see what is in the contract. You make sure that the contractor is responsible for trash, for everything else. Sometimes the contract does not say certain things, and then your trash, you're in charge of your own trash. And construction can generate a lot of trash. You have to make sure everything that you need to do is written in the contract, because when construction starts, contractors start getting money, it's a very different ball game. The attitude change.
Thank you.
Also, I wanted to add that the contract should be set up for 3 payments, third. And like the deputy had shared, you have to go by what was completed at that time. So most folks will provide a payment at the rough inspection, maybe installation, then final inspection. So, you know, just be due diligent on inspecting and taking a look at it yourself in order to even get advice from your building inspector. Thank you.
And if I may add into this, if for the average homeowner who doesn't understand too much about contract, you can go to the state website, the HIC section of the state, and the HIC department has a copy template of what a contract should look like. That would be a great resource for you to tap into.
Thank you, guys. All right, we have a few more questions. Leanne has her hand raised, and then we have 2 questions in the Q&A chat. Leanne, I sent a request to unmute you. Can you just let us know what your question is? Yep, there you go.
I think I'm
unmuted.
Thank you. My name is Leanne Bishop. I very much appreciate this presentation. It's really been wonderful. A great overview of best practices. I do very much appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I was wondering if there were any advice on an electrical possible permitting. I'm a fairly new homeowner, and there's 2 condos in my building, and we are realizing that the electrical connections between the 2 units are not independent, despite it does seem to have been permitted work a couple decades ago, from what I could tell. And so certainly we're going to go forth and try to start unraveling the octopus between the 2 units. Any best suggestions, as I'm listening to this about permitting, it didn't even occur to me that we might need permitting for anything like that. I guess just any best advice as we try to find an electrician to start helping us with that.
Well, Leanne, thanks for participating on this with us. And no matter what you have to do in terms of repairing your home, not painting, not doing some minor flooring or stuff like that, the code says that you can do that without the building permits. Electrical permits, you always need electrical permit for whatever you're touching on your electrical system. And that person must be licensed, and also he or she must also get a permit for that work. And then you have to be vigilant. You have to make sure that those work are inspected by us, by ISD, electrical inspector, building inspector, plumbing inspector. Make sure that those people come to see what kind of work, what's going on your property. That is always on your best interest, to have an independent eyes to take a look for you and with you. No matter, even if you know about construction or if you don't know about construction, it's always good to have the inspector. If you have questions, talk to the inspectors, call to the inspectors. Even though if there is a licensed professional, the inspector should be able to talk to you. If you have some concerns about some construction that's going on your house, on your property, you have the right to know. So that's my advice to you. If you see some works being done without permits, ask for the permits, ask to see a license. The licensed professionals should give you a license to see the license, what's going on your property.
Sure.
And I'd like to add, for your situation as well, you seem to have a situation where you have possible cross wires that are going into one unit to the other. So what you want to do is get a licensed electrician over to your home to give you an estimate. And don't forget to get 3 bids and get 3 numbers, the cost, what to do to assess what's happening there, and then what it will cost to fix it. So don't forget 3 bids, make sure they're licensed and they're insured.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, sorry, we have some messages in the chat. One of the messages is, thanks for the presentation. It was very informative. If renovations were made without permits, which you do hear a lot about, what can be done to rectify the problem?
Okay, so I had a problem like this today, actually, that came to my office, and this is a very serious situation where, so the question, so if a contractor comes into your home and does work, so the question is, if the contractor comes in your work and they didn't pull a permit, is that the question?
Yeah, or if a job was done without permits, what can be done to fix the situation? So if something's already done, what should people be encouraged to do if the work was already done to rectify the issue?
Sure. So what you could do is come into ISD and speak to your ward inspector, and your ward inspector will give you some guidance how to correct that. That's the best way to do it, is to come and talk to us, and we will put you in the right direction. We will also help you and assist you in giving you avenues to how to go after that contractor that did work on your home, and how to track them down and hopefully press legal charges against them for doing this work and not helping, not doing it correctly and not having.
Okay, Roxy, I see your hand is raised. Did that answer your question, Ms. Roxy?
So, no. So things were done. Okay, once I went into to do something on my basement, to get a permit for something, and whatever I was asking for, so my basement when I moved in and bought the house was done. It was, but when I went into 1010, they were saying my basement's not done. And so that leaves, and so what he kind of said to me, well, it's on you. So that's my question. So things, you know, things get done. That you buy a house, that things were done, and they may not have been have permits. So if something happens, then I'm liable now because I bought the house for work that was done before I moved into the house.
That is correct. Let me try to answer this way. If you buy a car with some problems and then you still have to fix that car. If you buy a home with some problems, some work was done illegally, it's always in your best interest to try to legalize the work. And
How do you
also
do
make sure
that?
that
That's my question. How do you do that?
You come to 1010, you speak with an inspector or one of us, and then we tell you how to do that. So we go, inspector goes there, take a look at this, and helps you to solve the problem. Get the permit to legalize the work that was done without permit, because it's good. If something happened and insurance companies also realized that there was no permit for a work that was done involving electrical, buildings, and also plumbing, they can create a problem for you. It's always good to try to legalize work that was done without permits. You can have an electrician go there, take a look, and see how to help to resolve some of the issue that may arise for you in the future. That's the best to do.
Thanks, Mark. And so we have two more questions in the Q&A chat. One is there an easy way to access the list of local reputable contractors? And then there was also someone that mentioned that, is there someone to email about permits from a previous owner? The contractor passed away a long time ago.
Jessica, I can assist with that one. I'm sending them the link on the
Oh,
chat.
perfect. Okay. Yeah. Like I said, our liaisons are on. And so if people do have questions, if, again, it sounds like a contractor may have passed away, we could definitely put you in touch with our divisions, with our reps here, inspectors, to make sure you're taken care of. As far as a list of online reputable contractors, anyone want to take that? I know we can't.
Yeah,
refer.
I can help answer that. If they get in touch with, so as building officials, we're not supposed to give out contractors, but the city of Boston, through the Homeworks program, they do have a list of contractors that they had vetted. I know for sure that they would be happy to share those information with folks who wants to get a contractor. Or you can go on the state website, the licensing department, and you'd see all the contractors that's licensed. One of the best ways, you know someone who did work already, who had work done on their property, so they had a interaction with the contractor. 99% of the time, the best way to find a contractor is through your circle of acquaintance, friends, and family.
Thanks, Dion. Then Anthony, I see you have your hand raised. Do you have a question?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes.
Hello, Jessica. Can you give me?
Nope.
Hello.
Yep.
I have a design made, and my design person I had done in December. So it might take 4 to 6 months to have it presented to the Tinton Mass Ave. So I haven't heard from Tinton Mass Ave. So I went down there and found out that they sent a letter out to my design person say, hey, what's gonna be a single family extension, 2 family, or 4 family? And it's been holding there for, I'm saying, give or take 2 extra months from the time it was presented. So I went down there 2 weeks ago and I'm like, I haven't heard from anybody, even my designer, who said he'd get the permit for me. And I clarified that. It's gonna be a 2-family. Now I went to the permit section. They're saying I'm missing 2 documents. And the 2 documents I'm missing is, even though I can see it on the plot plan, I can see it from the designer. It's saying that it needed a plot plan title.
Okay, so we can
Yeah.
follow up with you. If you want to give me, if you want to give your, I don't know if you want to give your contact information, but I'll put my email address here. We could talk either right after this conversation, or you could send me your telephone number. We'll get some additional information from you. But it sounds like
I can send you online. I'm not.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
also, Jessica, make sure that it submit the application number.
Yeah, yes, please send us your application number as well.
I don't know if I have it or it went to the architect himself. Because like
I'll
I
give
said,
your address. Your address can tell us a lot as well, so we can take that to your address.
I'll give my address.
Okay, thank you.
And
Also,
then-
Jessica, there was a previous question. I would like to say something about
Okay.
the permit that is there. The contractor is no longer available. The
Yes.
permit is good for 6 months if the permit is dormant, if no work started. And if you started work after 6 months, if that work has been dormant for 6 months, you have to have another permit. In other cases, if the permit belongs not to the contractor, not to anyone in particular, I'm talking about building permits, not electrical, not plumbing. Building permit belongs to the project. As long as the project is not done and it's continuous, the building permit is also valid for any person. If your contractor is no longer the contractor on record, you can always get another contractor. Bring the information and the permit will be still valid for the project. Okay?
Thank you, Mark. We appreciate that.
You're
That's great information. Also, just as a reminder, Jessica and her staff they've inserted their email address and contact information in the Q&A or what have you. So be sure to take note of that, so that if you have specific questions in regards to permits related to your property, you can send that information to them and they can either give you provide answers to your questions or forward those questions to the appropriate parties. Jessica, do we have a final question or?
Yes, I do see
Okay.
one more question here. Yep, it says, I am a disabled senior that needs repair work with my 2-family home. The homework programs and SHIP programs are not a quick remedy when you see the work done right away. What solutions or avenues are available for this category of people needed trusting contractors to do repair homes? So you might be referring to the senior program that we have.
Yeah, I think that's probably a good one because I know Jessica and Dion, you guys actually work hand in hand with the folks from the Age Strong Commission. And so they would be able to probably help folks, kind of navigate certain processes and procedures or what have you. And then also, as Jessica stated, maybe the Homeworks program. I know that they have a great program for homeowners, in particular for seniors, that even my mom herself has tapped into at one point in time to help with the get a new heating system or what have you. So is there anything else anybody could add
Yeah,
to
I'd be
that?
happy to follow up with you, Glenda, because again, if it's a situation where it's not happening fast enough, I can work with that division just to see what, if there's anything that can be done or any type of resources where they can get help you get a contractor in as quickly as possible. So again, I'd be happy. We put our contact information in the chat. So I'd be happy to speak with you either tonight or as early as tomorrow. So we could just talk about what your concerns are and how to fix them. So.
Yeah, Jessica, if you can just get all her information, and we definitely will follow up with her with Age Strong and see what what help we can assist her with.
Right. Absolutely. Okay. So that concludes the questions that we have. And again, we're absolutely here to help. Again, this was recorded this evening, so if anyone's interested in the slides or a copy of the presentation, please don't hesitate to reach out. And like I said, we have an amazing team of individuals who work at Inspectional Services, and we want to be as helpful as possible. We're also out in the community a lot, so if there are neighborhood walks that you're interested in with our team, you're having problems with the process at any point of it, please don't hesitate to reach out. We really appreciate it. And thank you again, everyone, for joining.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you guys very much.
Thank you,
Thank you.
everyone.
Thank you. All right.